Hey, sweetheart. The recycling center is 3 miles back that way. This gate is for official military personnel and families only. The voice cut through the humid San Diego air, dripping with a condescension that felt heavier than the midday sun. Erica Walsh didn't flinch. She didn't step back. She just stood there, her worn canvas sneakers planted firmly on the asphalt of the Marine Corps Recruit Depot gate. The heat radiated off the blacktop, shimmering in waves that distorted the palm trees lining the entrance, but the young Marine sentry in front of her was crystal clear. He was pristine, his khaki shirt pressed to a razor's edge, his cover angled perfectly over eyes that scanned her with open disgust. Erica adjusted the strap of her bag, a faded fraying duffel that contained everything she owned in this world. She knew what he saw. He saw the grime under her fingernails. He saw the layers of mismatched clothing she wore despite the heat, a habit from nights spent sleeping under overpasses where the temperature dropped sharply at 3 a.m. He saw the long blonde hair that, while brushed and pulled back into a severe ponytail, was dull from lack of expensive shampoos and sun damage. He saw a vagrant, a nuisance, a stain on the immaculate image of the Corps. "I need to get to the parade deck," Erica said, her voice raspy from dehydration but steady. It wasn't a plea, it was a statement of fact. "My son is graduating today. Platoon 3042. The sentry, a corporal by his insignia, let out a short, incredulous laugh. He looked over his shoulder at his partner, a younger lance corporal standing near the guard shack, who was already smirking. "Did you hear that, Davis? She says she's got a recruit in 3042. The corporal turned back to Erica, stepping into her personal space, the smell of starch and gun oil coming off him in waves. "Look, lady, I don't know what kind of hustle you're running, looking for handouts from fresh boots who don't know better, but you're not getting on this base. Step away from the line before I have to detain you." "I have a pass," Erica said, reaching into the deep pocket of her cargo jacket. Her hand trembled slightly, not from fear but from the neurological tremor that had plagued her since the IED blast in Kandahar, the one the VA was still processing paperwork for 3 years later. She pulled out a crumpled, sweat-stained envelope. It was the only clean thing she possessed. Inside was the official invitation, the visitor pass her son Jason had mailed to a P.O. box she barely managed to keep paid. The corporal didn't even look at the paper. He looked at her hand. He saw the tremor. "Put that away," he snapped, his hand hovering near his holster. "I'm not touching anything you've got on you. You're shaking like a junkie coming down off a fix. You think I was born yesterday? We get people like you trying to sneak in to steal from the vending machines, or hassle the families every graduation." A luxury SUV pulled up behind Erica, the engine idling with a low purr. The driver, a father in a tailored suit, leaned on his horn. The sound was jarring. "Officer, can we move this along?" The man shouted out the window. "We're going to miss the color ceremony." "Apologies, sir," the corporal shouted back, snapping a quick salute. He turned back to Erica, his face hardening into stone. "You are impeding traffic. You are creating a security disturbance. Turn around and walk away, or you're going in cuffs." Erica felt the old fire in her gut, the one she thought had burned out when she lost the apartment, then the car, then the ability to sleep without screaming. She straightened her spine. Despite the rags, despite the hunger gnawing at her stomach, she drew herself up to her full height. For a second, just a split second, the posture of a chief petty officer ghosted through her frame. "Check the name on the list," she said, her voice dropping an octave, becoming the command voice she used to use to order Marines to stay still while she packed their wounds. "Walsh, Erica. I am the mother of Private First Class Jason Walsh, and I am going to see him become a Marine." The corporal scoffed, shaking his head. "You? The mother of a Marine? Look at you. If you were his mother, he wouldn't let you look like this. Or maybe he's ashamed. Maybe that's why you're out here and he's in there." The words hit her like shrapnel. They found the chink in her armor, the deep, dark fear that she had kept buried since Jason left for boot camp, that she was a failure, that her service, her sacrifice, her downward spiral had cost him a normal life. But she promised him. She had promised him the day he signed the papers that she would be there. "Verify the pass," Erica said, her eyes locking onto his. They were blue, piercing, and for the first time the corporal hesitated. There was something in that gaze that didn't match the homeless exterior. It was a 1,000-yard stare that had seen things this young MP couldn't imagine. "Sarge," the corporal yelled, his confidence wavering just enough to seek backup. "We got a refusal to disperse here." A staff sergeant emerged from the guard shack, adjusting his belt. He was older, thicker, with a face weathered by multiple deployments. He looked at the line of cars backing up, the angry parents leaning out of windows, and then at Erica. "What's the problem?" the staff sergeant asked, his tone bored but dangerous. "She claims she's a parent, Sergeant. the corporal said, pointing at Erica as if she were a pile of refuse. Refuses to leave, suspected intoxication or mental instability. She's blocking the flow. The staff sergeant walked up to Erica, stopping inches from her face. He sniffed the air, looking for the smell of alcohol. All he smelled was old sweat and dust. "Ma'am," he started, using the term with zero respect. "This is a secure military installation. We have strict standards for entry. You are clearly not in a state to be around civilians and families. You're scaring people." "I served," Erica said quietly. "I know the standards." The staff sergeant laughed, a dry, harsh sound. "You served? What, the chow line at the shelter? Don't stolen valor me, lady. That's a federal crime." He gestured to her jacket, an old, oversized field jacket that was missing buttons. "Buying surplus at a thrift store doesn't make you a veteran." "I was a corpsman," she said, the title tasting like iron in her mouth. "FMF, 1st Marine Division." "Yeah, and I'm the commandant," the staff sergeant sneered. "Get her out of here, Miller. If she resists, drop her." Miller, the corporal, stepped forward, reaching for her arm. Erica flinched, instinctively pulling back, her hand brushing against the pocket where she kept it, her anchor. It wasn't money. It wasn't drugs. It was a heavy, tarnished coin, the edges smoothed by years of rubbing. On one side the eagle globe and anchor, on the other the caduceus of the hospital corps. It had been pressed into her hand by a dying lance corporal in the dust of Helmand Province as he bled out, his final words thanking her for trying. She carried it to remind herself that she had purpose once, that she had saved lives, even if she couldn't save her own. "Don't touch me," she warned, her voice low. "Resisting," Miller shouted, eager for the takedown. He grabbed her wrist, twisting it behind her back. Erica gasped, the pain shooting up her bad shoulder, the one reconstructed after the Humvee rollover. The envelope with the pass fell from her hand, landing in the dirt. "Mommy, look at that lady," a child in the back of the SUV pointed. "Is she a bad guy?" "Don't look, honey," the mother in the front seat said, rolling up the window. "Just some crazy person." Miller shoved her forward, pushing her toward the chain-link fence away from the road. "Sit down. Hands where I can see them." Erica stumbled, her knees hitting the gravel. The humiliation burned hotter than the asphalt. She wasn't fighting back. She knew better than to fight MPs. But the injustice of it was choking her. She watched the invitation lie in the dust, a tire track from the next car grazing the corner of it. "You're making a mistake," she gritted out, head bowed, fighting the tears. "Please, just check the list." "Shut up," Miller spat, standing over her, hand on his baton. "One more word and you're going to the brig for trespassing." The traffic began to move again, parents and wives and grandparents driving past the spectacle. They looked at the woman on her knees in the dirt, guarded by the sharp-looking Marine, and they felt safe. They felt the system was working. They didn't see the silver warfare pin pinned to the inside lining of her jacket. They didn't see the scars under her sleeves. Then the rhythm of the gate changed. The flow of SUVs and minivans halted abruptly. The ambient noise of the highway seemed to drop away, replaced by the deep guttural rumble of a heavy engine and the sudden frantic movement of the MPs. A black sedan with flags mounted on the fenders was approaching, the blue flag with white stars. "Admiral on deck," the staff sergeant bellowed, his voice cracking with sudden panic. "Miller, fix your cover. Look sharp." Miller scrambled away from Erica, rushing to the lane to render a salute. The entire gate crew stiffened, terrified. It wasn't just any officer. The plates and the flag indicated a rear admiral or higher, someone with the power to end careers with a single phone call. The black sedan slowed to a crawl. The tinted window in the back rolled down. Erica didn't look up. She stayed on her knees, staring at the invitation in the dirt. She was defeated. She would miss it. Jason would look for her in the stands, see an empty seat, and think she had chosen the bottle or the street over him. The thought broke her heart more than the physical pain in her shoulder. Inside the car, Admiral Thomas Sterling was reviewing his speech notes. He was the guest of honor for the graduation, a Navy man invited to speak at the Marine Depot, a testament to the bond between the two services. He was impeccably dressed in his service dress whites, the choker collar stiff, the ribbons on his chest a colorful testament to 30 years of war and peace. He glanced out the window as the car slowed, annoyed by the delay. His eyes swept over the guard shack, the nervous MPs, and then landed on the heap of rags kneeling by the fence. He frowned. It was an eyesore, certainly, but something about the person caught his attention. It wasn't the clothes. It was the way she held her head. Even on her knees, staring at the ground, there was a rigid discipline to her neck and shoulders, and the hair, long blonde, turning gray at the temples. Then, a gust of wind from a passing truck flipped the hair out of her face just as she looked up, her eyes tracking the movement of the Admiral's car. Admiral Sterling froze. The air left his lungs. The speech notes crumpled in his hand. He blinked, sure he was seeing a ghost. He had seen that face covered in oil and blood. He had seen that face illuminated by red tactical lights in the back of a heaving Osprey. He had seen that face scream orders at officers superior to her to get out of the way so she could work. "Stop the car," Sterling ordered. His voice was quiet, deadly. "Sir," the driver, a young petty officer, asked. "Stop the car," Sterling barked. The sedan lurched to a halt right in the middle of the intake lane, blocking everything. The MPs looked at each other, sheer terror in their eyes. Had they messed up the salute? Was the uniform wrong? The back door opened. A polished white shoe hit the asphalt. Admiral Sterling emerged. He stood 6'2", an imposing figure in white gold shoulder boards gleaming. He didn't look at the staff sergeant who was rushing over to apologize for the delay. He didn't look at Corporal Miller who was trembling at attention. He walked straight toward the homeless woman by the fence. "Sir, stay back," Miller yelled instinctively, his training kicking in before his brain caught up. "That individual is unstable. We were just removing her." Sterling didn't even acknowledge the Marine's existence. He kept walking, his pace quickening. Erica saw the white shoes enter her field of vision. She braced herself. Another lecture. Another officer telling her she was a disgrace. She closed her eyes, preparing for the shame. "Doc," the word was a whisper, but it carried the weight of a cathedral bell. Erica's eyes snapped open. She looked up, squinting against the sun. She saw the gold stripes on the sleeve. The face was older, lined with the stress of command, but the eyes were the same. The eyes of the lieutenant commander she had pulled out of a burning LAV in the Argandab River Valley. "Sir," she rasped. The staff sergeant and Corporal Miller watched in paralyzed silence as the Admiral, a 2-star commander of naval forces, dropped to one knee in the dirt. He didn't care about the grass stains on his pristine white trousers. He didn't care about protocol. He reached out and gently took Erica's dirty, trembling hands in his own manicured ones. "My God, Erica," Sterling said, his voice thick with emotion. "I thought you were dead. The last I heard you were in Germany, in the burn unit. Then you just vanished." "I got lost, Tom," she whispered, tears finally spilling over, cutting clean tracks through the dust on her cheeks. "I just got lost." Sterling looked at her, really looked at her. He saw the toll the years had taken, but he also saw the woman who had kept him alive when he had 3 bullets in his chest and leg. He saw the sailor who had earned the Navy Cross, a medal that sat in a box somewhere because she couldn't bear to look at it. He looked up at the MPs. His expression shifted from compassion to a cold, hard rage that dropped the temperature at the gate by 20 degrees. "Who did this?" Sterling asked, standing up and pulling Erica gently to her feet. He kept a steadying hand on her elbow. "Who put this sailor in the dirt?" Corporal Miller swallowed hard, his throat clicking audibly. "Sir, the individual was refusing to leave. She didn't have proper identification," Sterling repeated. He looked down at the dirt, saw the crumpled invitation, and bent down to pick it up. He dusted it off carefully. He read the name. "She is the mother of a recruit. She has a valid pass." "She looked like a vagrant, sir," the staff sergeant tried to interject, trying to salvage the situation. "We have security protocols, appearance standards." "Appearance standards," Sterling cut him off. He turned to Erica. "Chief Walsh, do you still have it?" Erica nodded slowly. She reached into her pocket and pulled out the challenge coin, but then she reached deeper, into the lining of her jacket, and pulled out something else wrapped in a piece of velvet. She handed it to the Admiral. Sterling unfolded the cloth. Inside was a ribbon rack. It was small, but the top ribbon was blue with a white star, the Navy Cross. Below it, a purple heart with a gold star. Sterling held the ribbons up so the MPs could see them. "You see this?" Sterling's voice boomed, carrying over the idling cars. "This woman is a chief petty officer. She served 4 combat tours. She is a recipient of the Navy Cross. She saved more Marines in one afternoon than you will likely meet in your entire career." The color drained from Corporal Miller's face. He looked at the homeless woman, really looked at her, and saw the jagged scar running down her neck that he had missed before. "She has earned the right to walk onto this base barefoot if she chooses," Sterling said. "And you threw her in the dirt." "Sir, we didn't know," Miller whispered. "Because you didn't look," Sterling said. "You saw a wrapper. You didn't check the contents. You judged a book by its cover, Marine, and you judged the wrong damn book." Sterling turned back to Erica. He brushed a smudge of dirt off her shoulder. "Your son is graduating?" "Yes, sir. Platoon 3042. He's going to be a fine Marine if he's half the warrior his mother is." Sterling said. He looked at his watch. We're running late, Chief, and I believe we have VIP seating. I can't go in like this, sir, Erica said, looking down at her clothes. You look like a survivor, Sterling said firmly. But if it makes you uncomfortable, we can fix that. He turned to the driver. Give her your cover, and get the emergency kit from the trunk. Within minutes, right there at the gate, the dynamics shifted. The driver produced a clean navy ball cap and a jacket from the Admiral's travel bag. It was oversized, but it covered the rags. Erica put on the cap, pulling the brim low. Admiral Sterling offered his arm. Not the gesture of a superior to a subordinate, but a gentleman to a lady. Shall we, Chief? Erica took his arm. She held her head high. As they walked toward the Admiral's car, Sterling stopped. He turned to the Staff Sergeant and Corporal Miller. I expect a full written report on this incident on my desk by 0800 tomorrow, Sterling said. And you will stand at attention and salute this Chief Petty Officer as she departs. Aye, aye, sir, the Staff Sergeant barked. The two Marines snapped to the crispest salute of their lives. But they weren't saluting the Admiral. Their eyes were locked on Erica. For the first time, they saw her. They saw the rank she carried in her soul, not on her collar. Erica paused. She looked at Miller. She didn't sneer. She didn't mock. She just nodded, a slow, forgiving nod. Carry on, she said softly. She got into the back of the black sedan. The door closed with a heavy thud, shutting out the heat and the noise. The air conditioning washed over her. As the car drove onto the base, bypassing the security checkpoints, Erica watched the familiar buildings of the depot pass by. The obstacle courses, the yellow footprints, the barracks, it all came flooding back. The discipline, the purpose. How is he? Sterling asked gently. Your boy? He's good, Erica said, clutching the invitation. He doesn't know about how bad it got. I write him letters. I have a P.O. box. I didn't want him to worry. He won't just worry, Erica. He'll be proud, Sterling said. They arrived at the parade deck. The stands were packed, thousands of people fanning themselves with programs. The Marine band was playing a Sousa march. The air was electric with anticipation. The car pulled up right behind the reviewing stand. The VIP area. Ready? Sterling asked. I'm scared, Tom, she admitted. More scared than I was in the triangle. I've got your six, Doc. Always. They stepped out. The crowd murmured. Who was this woman in the oversized jacket and ball cap walking next to the guest of honor? Was she a dignitary? A politician? Sterling led her up the steps of the reviewing stand. The general in charge of the depot stood up, confused. Sterling leaned in and whispered in the general's ear. The general's eyes widened. He looked at Erica, then immediately extended his hand. An honor, Chief Walsh, the general said. Please, front row. Erica sat in the front row, center. To her left, a two-star general. To her right, a two-star admiral. The ceremony began. The march on, the drill, the perfection of movement. Erica watched with tears blurring her vision. And then, the order was given to center. March. The guidons moved. The platoons adjusted. And there he was. Private First Class, Jason Walsh. He was taller than she remembered, leaner. His jaw was set, his chest puffed out. He looked like a Marine. He scanned the crowd. He was looking for her in the general admission bleachers, way in the back. His eyes darted back and forth, a flicker of panic in them. He couldn't find her. Then the announcer spoke. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a special guest of honor, a recipient of the Navy Cross and a veteran of the Battle of Fallujah, Chief Petty Officer Erica Walsh. The crowd went silent. Jason's head snapped toward the reviewing stand. He saw the white uniform of the Admiral, and next to him, the woman in the ball cap. He squinted. Then his eyes went wide. Erica stood up. She took off the ball cap. Her blonde hair fell down. She waved, a small, shy wave. Jason broke bearing. Just for a second, a smile broke across his face that was so bright it could have lit up the night sky. He imperceptibly nodded. You made it. The Admiral leaned into the microphone. I was going to give a speech today about strategy, he said, his voice booming across the parade deck. But today I want to talk about loyalty. I want to talk about the fact that the uniform doesn't make the warrior. The heart makes the warrior. And nobody gets left behind. He looked at Erica. Especially not our mamas. The crowd erupted, a roar of applause that shook the bleachers. Marines in the formation, who were supposed to be statues, were fighting back emotions. After the dismissal, the scene on the deck was chaos. Families rushing to their new Marines. Hugs, tears. Erica stood by the VIP railing, hesitating. She felt unworthy again. Then she saw him. Jason was sprinting. He wasn't walking. He was running toward the reviewing stand, dodging families. He hit the bottom of the stairs and took them two at a time. "Mom!" He slammed into her, wrapping his arms around her in a bear hug that lifted her off her feet. He buried his face in her neck, not caring about the dirt, the smell, or the rags under the jacket. "You came," he sobbed. I didn't think you could make it. I walked," she whispered into his ear. "I walked the whole way, baby." Jason pulled back. He looked at her. He saw the Admiral standing behind her. He snapped to attention to salute, but Sterling waved it off. "At ease, Marine," Sterling said. "Go hug your mother." Jason looked at his mom, then at the Admiral. "Sir, you know my mom?" "Your mother saved my life, son," Sterling said. "And today she reminded me what leadership looks like." Sterling pulled a card from his pocket. He handed it to Erica. "I need a chief on my staff," Sterling said. "Civilian liaison for veteran affairs. It comes with housing, it comes with a paycheck, and it comes with the respect you deserve." "I'm not asking, Erica. I'm ordering you to report Monday morning." Erica looked at the card, then at her son. "I don't have a uniform, sir," she said. "We'll get you a new one," Sterling smiled. "But keep the sneakers. They tell a hell of a story." As they walked off the parade deck together, the Admiral, the new Marine, and the homeless veteran, the crowd parted. Not because of the rank on the Admiral's collar, but because of the woman in the middle. Back at the gate, Corporal Miller watched the convoy leave on the monitors. He sat in silence. The image of the Admiral kneeling in the dirt burned into his brain. He took off his cover and looked at it. "You okay, Miller?" the staff sergeant asked. "No, Sarge," Miller said quietly. "I don't think I am." "Good," the sergeant said, picking up the logbook. "Then maybe you learned something. Write the report." And Miller, "Yes, Sarge? Make sure you spell her name right. It's Walsh, Chief Walsh." Miller picked up his pen. He started writing. And for the first time in his career, he understood that the most important part of guarding the gate wasn't keeping people out. It was knowing who deserved to come in. Erica Walsh didn't just walk into the graduation that day. She walked back into her life. And she brought the whole damn Navy with her.